by Bag Storytime, presented by the Mobile Medical Museum and Mobile Public Library.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Clavicle from the Mobile Medical Museum, and I'm here at the Mobile Public Library, the Ben May Library downtown. So I want to thank them for hosting this program for us today. I'd like to begin by pulling out an instrument, a medical instrument from my black bag that you see here. This type of bag was once carried by doctors about 75 years ago, 100 years ago, when they would make house calls to patients at home, and they would carry everything that they used in their practice in a bag like this. So what do we have in here today? We have a no-touch thermometer. So as you know, we are living in a time where there's this dangerous virus, coronavirus, that is easily spread through contact and through respiratory droplets. When you breathe out or when you cough or sneeze, the virus can spread that way. So that's why we want to always wear our masks whenever we leave the house, especially when you go to indoor places like a library or museum if it happens to be open, or the grocery store. And depending on where you may be, they might even ask to take your temperature, because one of the symptoms of this disease, if you have it, this virus, it's very hard to trace this virus. Some people don't have any symptoms at all, but some people get a high fever. And so if you have to go to the doctor's office, or maybe even the hospital, or a place like ours, the medical museum, they might ask to take your temperature before you go inside and see if you have one of the symptoms that's associated with this virus. So the way this works is the person is going to hold this up close to your forehead, and then turn it on, press the button here, and it automatically reads your temperature. And a normal body temperature, if you don't have a fever, is going to be around 98.7 degrees, give or take. But if you have a high fever, like over 100 degrees, that could be a sign that maybe you should get tested for the virus, and definitely stay home until you get your test results back. Okay, and so the next part of our program, we're going to read a story, and this story is called The One and Only Me, a book about genes, and it's by Ariana Killoran. And so what we're going to learn about today is what makes you the person you are. Part of what makes you the person you are is your genes. And so we'll learn about what they are and where they come from, and how they work in your body to develop parts of your personality and your abilities. The One and Only Me. Hi, I'm Poppy, and this is my dog, Eggnog. I have red hair and blue eyes, and I love making pizza. These are my parents. And these two are my brother and my sister, Milo and Cece. Everyone says they look a lot alike. Why do I look so different? You look the way you do because of your genes. And it's spelled G-E-N-E-S, genes. Genes? I love jeans. I have 7 pairs, one for each day of the week. Not jeans, J-E-A-N-S, jeans with a G. So she makes that mistake. Don't make that mistake. What are jeans with a G? Genes are the instructions for making you. Your genes are everywhere in your body. They are very tiny, so you need a microscope to see them. They are inside your cells. My genes are everywhere in my body, in your brain cells, in your skin cells, in your heart cells. You are made of trillions of cells. Brain cells, hair cells, heart cells, and many more. And almost every cell has a complete set of your genes inside. If you zoomed in on a single skin cell, you would see this. Your genes are right there in the middle of each cell. They are made of DNA, a long spiraling molecule found in all living creatures. Genes tell your cells what type of cells to be. They say, be a brain cell, be a heart cell, be a skin cell, and what jobs to do. Pump blood, heart. Hey, skin, protect the body. Make it curly. Be blue. Be freckly. So your genes are like a set of instructions. And they make you look the way you do. You inherited your genes, all 20,000 of them, from your parents. You have 2 versions of each gene, one from mom and one from dad. These 2 versions may be the same or a little bit different. But which version makes me look the way I do? Who decides? Or do they work together? Your siblings also got 2 versions of every gene from your parents. Some of them are exactly the same as the ones you inherited from your parents, and some aren't. So you can see that this girl inherited red hair. She got the red hair gene from each parent, but her siblings, her brother and sister, only got 1 red hair gene, and so they do not have red hair, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. In some cases, one version of a gene has a bigger effect than the other. For example, one important gene for eye color comes in either brown or not brown. This is, in the book, this is blue, but they call it not brown for an important reason in a minute. Because the brown version is stronger, you only need 1 brown version to have brown eyes. So if you have 1 brown and 1 not brown, you got brown eyes. If you have 2 brown genes, you also have brown eyes. But it takes 2 not brown versions to give you blue eyes, or you can end up with green eyes, or something in between. I have hazel eyes, which is like between green and brown. So somewhere along my family history, I had a not brown gene that was passed down to me. But where did I get my red hair? Here we go. You can have red hair or blue eyes even if your parents don't. If your mom and dad each have 1 red version of a certain hair color gene, they won't have red hair themselves. But if they both pass their red versions on to you, you probably will. You can trace that all the way down the tree. Here's one red hair gene that gets passed down to this person and this person and this person. And then the other one gets passed down all the way from here. This one had red hair. Pass down one of the genes to her, then it goes to this person, and then she gets another one, and so she's got two, and that results in red hair. Your parents got their genes from their parents, your grandparents, who got their genes from their parents, your great-grandparents. So you share genes with all of these folks, too. Maybe there are some other redheads in your family tree. In fact, your genes have quite a history. They tell a story about all the people in your family who came before you from all over the world, back through the ages. Who knows whose genes the three of you might share? While single genes have big effects on your red hair and whether or not you have brown eyes, most characteristics about you are the result of many genes working together. This means traits like your height, skin color, hair texture, and weight, to name a few, won't be exactly like either of your parents, maybe somewhere in between. And this is an important point. Genes are only a piece of what makes you who you are. You are a mix of both your genes and the world around you. The time you spend in your mother's womb, in your mother's tummy, the foods you eat, where you live, the air you breathe, the exercise you do, the people you meet, and the books you read. All of these work with your genes to make the one and only you. For example, your height is determined mostly by your genes, hundreds in fact. But what you eat and drink also affects your height. Your genes affect your weight too. But remember, what you eat and drink and how much you exercise are just as important. While the color of your skin depends on many genes, a lot of sunlight can change the color of your skin, at least temporarily. As for your personality, well, we're just not sure. Every day, scientists learn more about how your genes shape who you are. Okay, so we all have genes from our parents, and they tell our cells how to make us who we are. I have one version from mom and one version from dad. So do my parents, so do my parents, but not exactly the same versions I have. The little differences make us unique. Genes are very important for hair color and eye color, but may be less important for whether or not I like making pizza. She does, the dog says. Because of my genes, I am both similar to and different from the rest of my family. My genes explain a lot about who I am, but as for who I become, that is up to me. And then there's some fun facts here. Your DNA is 99.5% identical to other people's DNA and 96% identical to the DNA of chimpanzees. So almost everyone in the world has very, very similar DNA, just a tiny bit different between one person and another. You and a mouse share 80% of your genes, so we're also very similar to mice. You and a zebrafish share 63% of your genes, so less than a mouse, but still more than half of your genes are the same. You and a fruit fly share 39% of your genes. If you stretched out the DNA from a single cell in your body, it would be about 6 feet long. If you stretched out the DNA from all the cells of your body, it could reach to the sun and back hundreds of times. So even though DNA are very, very tiny, so tiny that we have to use a microscope to see it, if you just talk about the length of the DNA strands in our body, because there are many, many millions of them, and line them all up end to end, they would go to the sun and back hundreds of times. So that's how much, and you can imagine how much we have to learn about our DNA with that much information available. So that's our story. Okay, so in our story today, we learned about DNA and how you inherit many traits, many parts of what makes you you from your parents and your grandparents. But as we learned in the story, what makes you the person you are comes from not just your family, but from your everyday living and people you interact with, and your diet and your lifestyle, and just about everything you experience. And so today I'm going to show you how to do a little art project at home that can help to remind you all of these different influences that make you the person who you are. And this is called a very important people tree. Very important people tree, or VIP tree for short. So what you're going to do to start is you're going to draw and cut out an image of a tree like this. And here's the trunk of the tree, and then the branches, and then they lead up to the leaves at the top. Then what you're going to do is you're going to, what I've done here is draw a picture of myself and put that at the bottom. And then think about all of the different people, the very important people in your life who have had an influence on who you are. People who have taught you things, people that you take after. It could be a family member, it could be your father, or your aunt, or your grandparent, or your brother and sister, or it could be a friend, or a teacher, or a coach, anyone in your life who has had an important role in the person that you have become. And make a list, and then write their names in different places around the tree. And then think about what you have taken from each person. Positive things, positive characteristics. It could be, again, let's say you love your hair. You love your curly hair. Where did you get that curly hair from? Maybe you got it from your grandparent who has curly hair. But it doesn't have to be a physical thing. It could also be your sense of humor. It could be you have artistic talent, or you have musical talent, or you are good at playing a sport. Just about anything that you feel good about yourself came from some other person, some other influence in your life. And so once you've done that, you're going to draw a picture of that person and write down what you took from them and who they are. And then you put that picture somewhere along the tree, leading down to you, down the branch to you. So in my case, I am proud of my artistic talent. Although I'm not a professional artist, I do like to draw and paint and do crafts like this. And I trace a lot of that to one of my favorite teachers, an art teacher that I had when I was younger. His name was Mr. C. So I've drawn a picture of him, and I've written artistic talent and put that on my tree. So again, this could be anyone in your life that you've taken these positive traits from and that make up who you are, and make you proud of the person that you are. And if you run out of space, you can always make more. That's the beauty of this project. So I hope you've enjoyed our program today, Black Bag Storytime. Once again, my name is Dr. Clavicle, and I'm with the Mobile Medical Museum. And this program is brought to you by the Mobile Medical Museum and the Mobile Public Library. Thanks so much, and we hope to see you next time.